There exists a boundary in science so taboo, it's been buried under decades of moral debate, government secrecy, and fear. Human cloning, once a concept of speculative fiction, is now an imminent reality. But are we ready? Cloning isn't new. Nature's been doing it for millions of years. But when humans learned how to replicate life, ethics collided with science. The birth of Dolly in 1996 wasn't just scientific success, it was a warning. The world reacted quickly. Governments formed bioethics councils, issuing moratoriums and banning human cloning outright. But under the surface, rogue scientists, secret labs, and underground networks were already operating. Human cloning in its essence involves extracting the DNA of a person and inserting it into a donor egg cell. The resulting embryo is genetically identical to the donor. Sounds simple, but nature is rarely that cooperative. Despite public bans, several underground attempts were made, some resulting in grotesque failures. These were covered up, blamed on animal trials, or simply disappeared. In 2004, Dr. Panayotis Zavos claimed he had implanted cloned human embryos. The backlash was swift, but was it because he lied or because he told the truth too early?
People fear cloning not because it's impossible, but because it's real. And real science always challenges power.
What if cloning wasn't about science or ethics, but power? Reports have surfaced of defense research units exploring the potential of cloning elite soldiers or intelligence operatives. People fear cloning not because it's impossible, but because it's real. And real science always challenges power.
EA found documentation referring to Project Genesis, a 1980s military-funded experiment. It was described as a venture into the replication of elite assets. The rest was blacked out.
What makes you you? If a clone shares your DNA but not your memories, are they still you or something else entirely? Philosophy struggles where science rushes ahead. Whispers abound that celebrities and the ultra-wealthy are already preserving DNA for future rebirth. The dream? Immortality, not through spirit but science.
An anonymous biotech insider told me flat out, yes, there are frozen embryos of at least one A-list star stored overseas. It's not science fiction, it's investment.
The church sees human cloning as a violation of the soul's sanctity, a line between creation and creators being erased, and it's igniting theological crises worldwide. With CRISPR, cloning is no longer just replication, it's customization. The next generation may not just be born, they could be built. Over 70 countries have banned human cloning, but others, often underfunded or isolated, become havens for experimentation. What's illegal in one hemisphere is profit in another. Rumors persist of a clone born in 2012, living in anonymity, possibly unaware of her origin. Who is she? And what does her existence mean for the rest of us? When digital and biological replication become indistinguishable, identity becomes obsolete. We are entering the age of manufactured humanity. Some seek to clone the dead, lost children, loved ones, even historical figures. But should grief allow us to resurrect the past? Major biotech firms avoid the topic. Shareholders panic at bad press. Meanwhile, progress continues in quiet corners. Will cloning free us from death or destroy what it means to be human? The science is here. The decision is ours. We stand on the edge of a scientific and ethical precipice. The progress made in cloning technology is no longer confined to the pages of science fiction. It lives in laboratories, in frozen test tubes, in academic journals, and in the silence of government halls. The forbidden science of human cloning is not merely a tale of test subjects and genome editing. It's a reflection of our own humanity. As we've uncovered throughout this investigation, what was once considered unthinkable has gradually slipped into the realm of possibility. The question is no longer whether we can clone a human being, but whether we should, and who gets to decide.
Cloning touches the core of what it means to be human. We're talking about individuality, autonomy, rights, and existence. Once we blur those lines, we enter dangerous territory where science may serve ideology, commerce, or worse, control.
Black sites, classified biolabs, unsanctioned experiments. People would be shocked to know how far some programs may have gone. The technology is far ahead of public knowledge, and it's naive to assume it's not being tested somewhere.
The implications ripple across every aspect of society: religion, law, identity, warfare, even the idea of mortality. Clones as organ banks, as disposable soldiers, as replicas of lost loved ones. The moral lines grow ever thinner, and the public remains largely in the dark. Yet perhaps the greatest threat isn't the technology itself, but the secrecy surrounding it. Knowledge confined to the few is power wielded without accountability. As we close this chapter, the forbidden science of human cloning leaves us with a haunting question. Will the mirror reflect our progress, or a future we no longer recognize? One day we may look into the eyes of a clone and see ourselves staring back. Not a future of possibilities, but of decisions already made.
The content presented in this video is based on publicly available information, including historical documents, declassified reports, and verified sources. The images and graphics shown are AI-generated and created for illustrative purposes only. While every effort has been made to ensure accuracy, this documentary does not claim to be a comprehensive or definitive account. The views expressed are for informational purposes only and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the producers. This video is not sponsored or endorsed by any organization or individual associated with the events or topics discussed. All copyrights and trademarks belong to their respective owners.